Hi viewers, welcome back to my channel. I hope you all been good, and I know you guys have missed me as an individual, and I'm here today. So what's new here? Today we're all by ourselves, and I want us to have some talk. Trust me, this talk is so essential to both genders. If you have not subscribed to this channel, Fena on Trend, kindly dash there. I'll catch you right there. See you on the next. Now, once again, welcome back. It's your host, Fena. So, can somebody guess what we're going to talk about today? I know all of you have got no idea. So, your girl here is yet to cover something that, as I earlier stated, all of us could have gone through such, or might be expecting to go through such, or might have never gone through such, or might have escaped going through such. What am I covering today? This is relationship violence. I have seen, I have heard, I have really had people complain about it, and I felt it is something I should cover as a segment just to enlighten all of us what all this is about. And that is violence. What is violence? Violence is an intentional use of physical force to threaten an individual. I hope you all got that. And there are different types of violence. As we can say, there is physical violence, there is cultural violence, there is verbal abuse, which is as well violence. So I don't know which of those either of you have undergone in whatsoever time. I hope none of us has actually gone through that, but we actually can't shy away from this because it is something that people have been complaining over the years, and it's quite essential for us to have a segment on the theme. Sexual violence. Sexual violence, if I may expound slightly about it, this is a moment whereby an individual of either gender, both male or female, is sexually assaulted. Allow me to use the name assaulted. Why am I saying being assaulted? You are not a willing partner, or rather you're not a willing party in the sexual act. Let me precisely call it rape. So rape is also a source of violence. Cultural violence, cultural violence is a way that maybe, what can I say, cultural tribes or settings have violence against each other. I remember while we guys were schooling, we were experiencing this term called clashes, and I believe that's still happening. So there are clashes happening between tribe to tribe, clan to clan. So that's also violence. Lastly, there is verbal abuse. Yeah. So I tend to think there are some people who just get excited when they gush out some bad words to people. So that is abusing somebody verbally, and it is a source of violence. So for those of us who know that's not violence, kindly get to understand that you get violent to someone when you use bad terms. Okay? Quickly, what are the consequences of violence? All the segments that I've talked about in violence, they can lead to depression, they can lead to post-traumatic depression. And why am I saying depression? When somebody gets violent to you, and maybe you don't have anyone to open up to, you'll definitely feel sad about it. So because you cannot have a chance to speak about it, you'll get depressed because you'll feel so sad in you, and it will affect you, trust me. And then the post-traumatic disorder. Have you ever met that one person who is always scared? they're always anxious of everything. They wouldn't even let anyone scream out of joy just because they have experienced trauma. So that is part of the consequences of violence, and it really affects many households as per se. And I think sharing it out is a way of solving some of these people who suffer silently in their households or in their relationships or in their neighborhoods, right? So how do you get to know that a relationship can turn out violent in the future? Now, this is something I can feel so much excited about when I'm talking about, especially how to tell that a relationship or a cohesion might lead to violence sometime later on. For instance, either party, okay, for instance, number one, alcoholism. You get that either party, either male or female, is an alcoholic. Either, I've not said both. Rather, even both can still lead to that kind of violence. But if it is one party who is an alcoholic, of a user of any substance, they can as well get violent in a relationship. The partner, either way, male or female, cannot be happy maybe with the patterns of drinking of the other party. So that definitely brings up arguments, and argument after argument definitely leads up to violence of whichever manner, either physical violence or verbal abuse. Are we now together? And another thing, maybe the drinking itself is a piss off to the other party, so it will definitely lead to violence by the end of the day, because you can imagine, I don't love my partner drinking, and it's an issue which we talk about every other day. We have to face each other, so it definitely becomes a piece off to either party, and then you definitely fall out later on, because too much repeating of stuff is quite tricky, it gets quite annoying. And lastly on that, I might be not happy about the hangovers that my partner gets anytime he gets drunk. So just that annoyance of he's got some hangovers, maybe he's throwing up anyhow, maybe he's having some stomach upset, it just gets quite annoying, and then I can end up falling out on that, and definitely spikes up a disagreement, which quickly leads into violence. So lastly, on warning signs that a relationship can turn violent is using mate retention behavior. I don't know how many of you know about this, but using mate retention behavior, this is clearly like trying to manipulate someone. It's good you advise someone on reasons as to why you don't want them to engage in 1, 2, 3 things, instead of using mate retention behavior. So if you try to manipulate me emotionally, I'll definitely have a disagreement about that. What next? Violence. You might think maybe I'm not submissive, or rather I might think my husband is not keen to listening to me, so it can lead to a fallout. Closing up on the same, there is vigilance over partners' whereabouts. Generally it leads to trust issues. You'd never trust when your partner tells you I'm at such a place. You'll never trust that. So once you start having those trust issues, trying to be vigilant of where's my baby, where's my whoever, where's my child, it will definitely lead to trust issues. And once trust issues pop in, there's always a fallout. And what can the fallout lead to? Violence. Let's not lose on the track. See you in a few. Welcome back, viewers. Thank you for coming back. And quickly to our next pointer. Most of us, as I said, have been with people who have undergone violence in whichever state. So I quickly want to advise us how to help whenever you encounter such people. It's not good actually to assume them, but I do understand you might get clueless at times when somebody approaches you with such a distress, but then how do you actually do this? You don't have to quickly rush to wrong decisions. You don't have to quickly rush to wrong utterings. Kindly, let's all be careful, because if it is a relationship and somebody approaches you as a friend and this is really your close friend, the very quickest advice I know all of us will give is get out of that relationship immediately. Once you say that, you might have done, or rather you might have made the wrongest move. First of all, how do we go about this? Make time for them. Make time for this one who is being abused, whether male or female. I'm very specific because all genders, rather, both genders at times encounter abuse, at times encounter violence in whatever manner. So kindly let us make time for them. And then always spark a conversation with them, because you'll notice some of them tend to get withdrawn, so that maybe people don't understand what they are going through. So spark a conversation with them. Ask them maybe how they are doing, because you're feeling like they look not so happy. Something will definitely come up out of that. And then listen to them without judgment. Learn to listen to them without judgment, because you do not know, or rather you do not understand what they went through in depth. And then learn warning signs from them. You could see somebody with a black eye, maybe with a burst lip, and maybe with some sprinted wrists. So get to spark conversations out of whatever you see. Use your sight first to get into a conversation, because if you quickly get into a conversation with them, trying to tell them how much you understand whatever they have gone through, trust me, you do not really understand what they've gone through. You do not really understand what led to what. So you can be what is the best word I can use? You can fall victim if you're not so careful. So you really have to measure your words. And then you can check on their behavioral behavior. You can check on how they behave, their behavioral tactics, being withdrawn, looking so anxious, ready to flee, so fearful. So some of those are things to check out on. And then I understand some of them you can advise them, but then they wouldn't want to leave. If it is a relationship, or it's a marriage, or it is a family, they would not want to leave. Because if it's marriage, they say for better, for worse. But then be careful. For better, for worse might lead you to the grave. So you have to remain sharp and focused on any plan you make. And then some people might choose not to leave because there's pressure in the family. Both families are saying, no, you cannot leave because of this. The other family is saying, no, you cannot leave because of this. So those are some of the things that when you advise someone who's been violently attacked, they might have challenges in leaving. So kindly do not judge them. And then some of them could be lacking means on how to survive by themselves. So they have no option other than just staying. But kindly remember, that is a very wrong thing to keep you at a place where it's not safe for yourself or your children or whoever maybe is dependent on you. So what not to do? Do not bash the abuser. If you bash the abuser and you got wrong information, you're in for it, girl. You're in for it. And then do not blame the victim. The person is already sick and tired. The person is already abused. So kindly, can you just spare them? Do not judge them. Leave it for them. If you can't handle, if you can't help, just leave it at it. And then there is too much pressure on the victim. So do not actually force them. You have to do it, you have to move, you have to. Don't be forceful. Do not be forceful. Do not put too much pressure on them. So quickly, kindly stay tuned as I see you on the next. Welcome back, viewers. Thank you for staying tuned, and I'm right here with you. Your girl didn't get lost. Anyway, on the very last one, on all this about violence, once you notice that the violence is actively happening, I mean, either you pop into a friend's house and you find like the violence is actively happening, kindly call the police. You get to understand from a friend that he was beaten today. Yesterday he was beaten. This day that you've gotten into their house, she's also beaten or he's also being beaten. Kindly call the police urgently. Last but not least, my dears, I want to give us a word of advice. If you are in an escalating violent relationship, it is important to carefully develop a safe plan to leave the place or get assistance from a professional, experienced person. That is a very, very, very important thing to do. Don't be hasty. Don't be mad. Don't counteract. Get advice from an experienced professional about violence issues, or get a good plan on how you can leave the violence surrounding, the surrounding which you're experiencing the violence. So guys, without forgetting, violence is a spirit. What kind of spirit is this? A demonic spirit. What do you have to do about demonic spirits? You got to pray. Pray about the spirit. If it is your partner who's being attacked, pray for him so that he doesn't get affected. If it's a lady on the other side, pray for her so that she doesn't get affected. So the spirits should not manifest in whatever relationship or in whatever setting you guys are involved. So kindly, let us not forget to pray. If it's a marriage, remember that it is God who ordains a marriage and would not encourage such stuff or such things to happen. So kindly, let us all stay safe and keep safe in prayer. Anywho, guys, thank you so much for staying tuned in, and thank you so much for being with us. Once again, I do not want to forget this. For all the new subscribers, nowadays they are called subs. For all the new subs, thank you so much. I am overwhelmed by your love. I love you guys so much. And kindly tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend to subscribe on your girl's channel, Fena on Trend. I have a lot for us. I have talks. You have seen a bit of comedy. I'm going to give you parodies. I'm going to give you pranks. I hope you all are getting entertained. Once again, thank you so much and goodbye. See you on the next.